Welcome to the official AFL Fantasy podcast with the Traders.
G'day with the Traders. I'm Roy. I coach Destroy, and I'm here with Warnie.
Coach of the One Dogs.
And Calvin.
Coach of Calvin Nater.
Calm cow.
It is a calm cow.
There's a lid on it, Roy. There's a lid on it.
Are you happy with how you're tracking?
I've got a great team.
Yeah.
And later on, we talk to the great man.
It is exciting.
DC.
We've got a couple. Bit of Tom Mitchell action.
A little bit of a pig.
Well, when you're talking midfields,
yes,
you want oink.
You want a lot of oink.
And who better to go to at the moment than Tom Mitchell?
The man.
A man that will have his snout in that trough, racking up plenty of fantasy points. We'll hear how many there'll be.
Has he, since you opened and picked your initial team, has he ever moved?
No, he hasn't.
He's moved from M1 to M2.
That's
the only
fine.
place he's ever gone.
That is fine.
Still in the team.
Still in the team.
Love him.
So anyway, we look forward to that.
Yeah, plenty. Well, today is a midfield-centric podcast where we're going to look at midfielders. But before we do, got some breaking news. But before the breaking news, even better breaking news, Roy, you've gone to work on our draft camp.
Oh,
yes.
I have. And boy, I know. It's getting out of hand.
It is.
This thing is going to be ridiculous.
Yep.
The only fear is that if we get up to too many antics, we might miss the draft.
That's it.
That's about the only
So
fear.
long story short, what we've got, I think, 10 of us that are going to a beach house that you've booked out, and we're going to do draft order on the Friday night.
Yep.
And Saturday morning, we're going to go and play some golf at
Barnbougle.
Then in the afternoon, we're going to draft.
With the keg.
With a keg on the deck, overlooking the beach.
Oh, gosh.
How good is it going to be?
Heaven.
That's living.
Yeah, that is living.
That's living, people.
That is.
I'm that excited.
March long weekend, that'll be, which is a great time to draft. So if you haven't got organised with your drafts yet, that's a great time to do it the weekend before the season starts.
Do something like that.
Oh,
do that.
Get your crew together and
have a
make
good
it happen.
time.
It will be fun.
Now here's Warnie with breaking news.
All right, news out of the last few days. This is what we've got here. The Lions. They've been actually holding quite a few scratch matches and match sim things going on. And on the weekend, we heard from quite a few Twitter sources, but Dom Fay was one that was there on the ground providing lots of good things. Right. Lachie Neale, we've just heard the whole time that he's fit and he is dominant. He was again. I think he is a lock, without a doubt for me.
You're not huge, Cal.
No, I'm not huge. No.
It can be a source of mass frustration.
Yes, that's a part of it. So last year, injury prone.
Yeah.
Now he's come back this year.
Prone, I hate that word.
They're not going to say, oh yeah, Lachie Neale's out there. He's a little bit sluggish. They're going to make.
Or they don't talk about him.
They're going to give him good reports.
That's
Okay.
true.
There's only 10 points upside in Lachie Neale.
Only
10.
That's not enough.
That's a fair bit.
You can find more elsewhere.
I don't know. I've had a few squirts.
And that's maximum
I
10.
think the shoulder was giving him huge problems
He had
last
the
year.
back as well.
And apparently he's humming.
Yep. Humming cow.
Okay, that's fine.
I think he's forcing our hand.
I am happy to change my mind. And that's what you can do in the preseason.
You can.
Okay.
Also for the Lions, Harry Sharp. We had him, Roy.
Ah, Sharpie.
He was in year 12 last year. So I think there's positives
Why
about
did I
him.
pick a student?
He didn't
I'm an idiot.
Now, he was on the wing and he was in the probables team.
Was he?
So,
Sharpie's back in my team.
200K.
And?
Option.
Not year 12 anymore.
No, he's graduated. I think he graduated anyway. We should check his
allegedly.
scores. Cam Rayner, we're hearing so much good stuff about him.
Yes.
Midfield time.
Yeah.
That sounds real.
It does sound real.
And he's getting a lot of the ball. That was the other thing coming out of it. Because we were worried about what his scoring would be. But if he's getting the ball, that means he's getting the fantasy points.
To be serious, that's one thing he has never really done that well. Like, he's great when he gets it. And, he impacts games from minimal possessions. But he's never been much of an accumulator. But it sounds like that is what he's doing. And it sounds like he's as fit as he's ever been.
Yeah.
Because there has been question marks historically about his lack of tank. And apparently he's running really well.
He is in 24% of teams.
You don't like him though, Cal?
No, it's a no for me.
Yeah, I can understand that too.
We're going to see something in a pre-season
me,
game and we're just going to be locked and loaded.
he's
I
in the
don't think
squad.
I have to see much, to be honest. Former number one pick, that price, the fittest he's ever been,
With forward
running
status.
through the midfield forward status. It's a lot of boxes.
So he was everywhere. And Dom did say that he was probably the leading possession scorer in the first half.
Gee,
Gatherer.
Oh, whatever.
Number
He got a heap of touches compared to everyone else. That's good.
Yeah, Zach
That's what
Bailey
we
was a
want.
standout as well. Now, Noah Answorth could be one for deeper draft leagues or even to consider for your keeper league.
Oh, yes.
Running off half back.
Right.
So, and there's probably an opportunity there at times. All right, for the Pies, Pendles, that half back role seems real.
Doesn't it?
And was taking kick-ins.
Okay.
So, that's got to be good.
Does this bump him up your draft order, Roy?
I think it does a little bit.
Yeah.
Those
could
3
be.
plus 3s.
Yeah, agree.
That's handy. Pendles he's of interest. What is he? 34 years of age now.
Yep.
But taking kick-ins, free kicks to Pendles.
Little +6s back there. He's never had those before.
Yeah, and the DPP that he'll get. Bump him up.
Sounds like Dacos was doing the half-back midfield role as well. That was where he was switching. So I think he's just a lock. I don't think we've got
I agree.
anything
Nothing to worry about.
No, that's an easy
to
one.
do. Now, DeGoey was probably more forward.
Was he?
Yeah. So he's going to have that more forward mid time, but he hasn't been with the team for a long time.
That's
So
right.
maybe that's why he's being eased
Possibly.
for role.
He sat forward as a part of his punishment. Right. Now that it's all been done and dusted, he'll be back in the guts. He was so good there.
Yeah.
And
That's where he'll play.
And Pendle's going back.
Yes, exactly.
Their depth isn't great
No.
in there. It's
No.
Adams and it's no one.
Yeah.
They need him as a forward. That's what we kept saying last year as well. But
They kind of need him in both at
Yeah.
the moment. Yeah, interesting.
all right, Swans, Heaney midfield.
No, don't.
He's in my team.
This is
What?
happening.
Yeah, it is happening. It's real.
No, it's not.
I think
He's a
it's
dude
real.
that's done multiple seasons in the 90s. He's
has.
priced at 80.
It's a no. It's another no for me.
He could have a career best year if he plays mid.
100% he can.
Okay.
And I think it's a transition thing. Like Mills and Heendog.
Yep. They're the future. The blonde bombshell midfield.
Oh, my goodness.
Will he be what Mills
That's
was
nearly
last year?
sold me. No, he's not.
no.
He's nowhere
Right, thank
near
you.
as
Okay,
good as
let's
Mills. No,
clear that
can't-
up.
yeah, no. Well done, Cal, because the way Warren was selling it.
You weren't keen
People
on
might-
Mills at this time last year.
No, I
Gal.
wasn't. I'm
At
not
all.
keen on anyone, to be honest.
I think, do you think, I don't know, is there a chance my rocket helped?
100%. Yes, it did.
He's got that
Put him in
pinned
the
up on his
midfield.
wall.
Put him in the midfield mix.
Well, the horse got the rocket, really, didn't he?
No, he's got that pinned up on
Someone-
his wall and he's throwing darts at Roy from the Traders.
He'll
as the
thank me
byline
one
all
day.
the time.
Won't he ever?
He'll thank me.
Other Swans news was that Paddy McCartan, he has been signed as an SSP, 270k or 271, defender forward. I don't think you're doing that.
I'd
not as a
hesitate
key.
at 190.
Not as a key. Sad news out of the Saints was Nick Caulfield,
You throw darts at you.
ACL.
Stop it.
All right, that's probably enough of the news.
Right, good.
Let's get into...
Nick Caulfield, ACL?
Yeah.
Oh,
Didn't
poor
you hear
bugger.
that? Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
No, not
Oh,
cool.
he's luckless.
Don't have the internet?
Did you know?
Yeah, of course I did.
You're up the lakes.
Yeah, still get
this week.
bit of
Catch any
internet.
fish?
Cleaned up.
Any tag?
Have a look at his teeth. No.
No.
No tag ones this time.
All right, let's start talking midfield. We've got, well, that's where we pick 8 players on field and 2 players on our bench. And this is where we're looking in classic at the moment. Most popular players. I would just want your verdict on these guys. Nick Dacos, 57% of teams.
Lock.
Not enough people own him, to be honest.
Jason Horne-Francis, 55%, but I've seen some people saying that they don't want to do it.
Gosh, the reports I read of how he's looking on the track and in
Who
match
was
sim and
very
that,
excited about him. Kingy.
David
he
King,
was, yeah.
yeah, and he doesn't get overly excited. He's more negative, grumpy. So he loved him.
At this stage, he's not there for me. And the
Isn't
reason...
he?
No. The
What?
reason... No, hear me out. He only averaged 70 in the SANFL, right?
Yeah.
He's going into the AFL.
Yeah.
Playing against harder opposition and in a terrible team.
All right.
They're not terrible.
They are
No,
terrible.
they're not anymore.
He's going to be good for a 50. That's it. 50. I think we can get that somewhere else. That's all I'm saying.
Job security is very important there. And the other thing too, he's
100%.
going to be a half forward. He'll
Yeah.
gain forward status.
Cow. Just come on.
No, I'm just saying.
I know, but I just want
Very
you to start
negative
with him.
today, aren't I, Roy?
You are, David King, right.
Matt Rao is the next most selected midfielder. I'm not talking about any dual position players here in this little bit, but Matt Rao, midfield, he's in 40% of sides. Where's he sit with you guys?
That's a no from me as well.
He's currently in for me.
But
he's not a lock.
He spent a lot of time in for me, currently out.
Yeah,
How?
same.
Same.
I just keep
But-
thinking back to what I saw last season.
100%. However, he's in the squad.
Oh, he's in there.
He's under the umbrella of Team Calvinator. We just need to see he's training with the team. I need to see something.
He came in huge numbers as a kid.
Yep.
Yes.
He converted them straight to the top level.
Yep.
Like nasty fashion.
Yep.
No issues scoring there.
Agree.
Injury. He just had enough time last year to show us 100.
Agree.
Just one.
He showed us nothing.
I think did he even show us a 70? Maybe one?
It was hard to watch.
It
He
was.
showed us 2 130s in his first 4 games.
So long ago. I forget when I saw last year.
I need to see something first.
I've gone cold. I'm cold at the
Yeah,
moment.
agreed.
I need to see something. I'm with you.
I'm cold on everyone, though, at the moment.
Yeah.
$464,000 is so cheap.
So cheap.
Yeah.
So
we
much
started
better than
him
that.
at a higher price last year.
Yeah, he is so much better than that.
All right, Greg Clark's the next one. So 190k mature age, midfielder. Yep. We probably won't talk too much
He's
about
been doing really well, too.
some of these
Seems to
rookies.
be
Yeah,
going
well, he
well.
was in there. They had a scratch match
Yep.
last week or so, and he was in the main team.
It's
in the rotation.
It's a no-brainer at this
that's
stage.
good, dog.
Yeah.
All right, Lachie Neale's there. Cow, you're not hot.
Not yet, but that's okay.
35%. Jack Steele in 32% of sides, which
That's
I reckon
a
a lot
lot.
of people probably just click on that best player from last year or second best player if you
I
go
think
by
so.
average. But
Just
yeah.
gets all your worries out of the way. Captain,
does.
bang.
We all have him.
We do. Which is unlike us to
No.
all launch into the most expensive.
Why
one of the most
do we have
expensive.
him?
He's got an easy draw to start with.
Really easy draw to
He's
start
got
with.
stability at his club. So same coach, same sort of midfield group. Nothing will change for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He feels every stat line.
Yes.
He tackles. Even if he's not getting a lot of the ball,
Yeah.
he'll still get his
So
120.
he doesn't need wins to score.
No.
He just ticks so many boxes that he's, I can't believe I'm going to say it, justifying $1 million.
Yeah. And he's so handsome.
Oh, that helps.
Oh, doesn't it?
He's a good looking man. Then we keep going down the list into Tom Mitchell.
Just a lock.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and not even showing pig bias here.
No.
That is just a gimme because there's another captain. If you want to miss Steele, if you want to leave that, and that's a decent play. Like, there's a lot of justification for that as well. But you're not chasing a captain. There's no captain panic if you start Titch at M1.
No.
Is there?
No.
Like, you're laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, great pick.
Then we go Caleb Sarong, 24% of sides, third-year breakout is what we've been banging on about. Roy, you were sort of saying, are we overthinking it?
In regard to...
Like, as in, like, you know, he's in and out maybe in our sides, and are we just going to roll back and think that we just should have done it?
I think Sarong is...
All the writing's on the wall.
Easy, obvious breakout chase. Like,
Agree.
Every team needs a breakout player, don't they?
Yep.
Like, and you see a lot of successful teams, hat winners, car winners, they nail the breakouts. This one is just a gift because God knows why he was getting no time on ground. It wasn't a fitness issue, it wasn't an injury issue. It was a development issue or something. Gets unleashed at the end when I think who was out, Fife or someone.
Yep.
So he gets unleashed and he just keeps hitting 115s. Bang, bang, bang. Cerra is gone.
Yep.
How is he not going to dominate?
He has to.
Like, I'm saying 100 average, but in the back of my mind, I hear a voice going, have some balls, mate. He can do more than that. Like, he can actually do more than
Well,
that.
he's priced at 82. There's not much risk there, is there?
Second easiest pick in the game after Titch.
Agree.
Sam Walsh, and this is probably one that I will come up and say, no, I will not pick.
Yeah, I
in
know.
my starting
But why
team.
not?
Why do you
Why
get in
not?
my head about
I
this?
think he's got a 109 next to his name. That's
Unders?
about where I think he's at.
Right.
So obviously I'm not paying for what I think he's going to just go at. That's one thing. But there's a few unknowns. Like, he's got a couple of blokes coming into that team in Cerra and also George Hewitt. So I just think that, I don't know, there's too many questions for me to go, and he'd need to go at least 115 to be worth it.
Look, I
Because he'd have to
agree.
be,
I agree
he'd
with
have
you.
to really get into, well entrenched in that top 8.
All
to be
right,
able to do
so
it.
this is what I just want to ask then. So have you looked at the trajectory of his career? The numbers he has... Why would he, for some reason, pull a handbrake on?
Yeah.
This dude is just keep going... Whew.
And even last year, he had a couple of scores that were really affected
150?
by tags.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he's going to even get rid of those.
Will he?
Yes, he did towards the end of the season.
So he had that heavy tag, which was his first real heavy one, and struggled. Still worked his butt off to get some form of a score for his owners, but every tag after that,
Yep.
they couldn't keep up with him. No. It's like he just learnt from it that one game.
The question is, why do we think he's going to be worse? He's not going to be worse than his 109.
I don't think he's going to be a lot worse if he is worse, but it's just I'm not getting any value out of him.
Are you thinking he is clamped every game? Because that would handbrake him. But if that's a tagger every game at him,
there's just no value. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Look, I agree with you, Warren. He's not been in my side, and I doubt that he will be.
Oh.
He's floated into mine. He's going to be better than the 109, but it's not going to be by a lot.
He's such a funny guy because people are always so split on him. Like, people are either bullish. Like, look at his career. He's just a young kid and he's improving and dominating, yada, yada, yada. But the flip side argument, people are like, he's going to get tagged every week. There's not enough support.
It's such a high ownership. Like, it's nearly 20%. That's a lot.
I certainly hear what you're saying about him, and I'm a lover.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Matt Crouch, 77 he's priced at. Got to do it.
If he's there, he's there. It's as simple as that.
It is as simple as that. Now, he hasn't set foot in my team yet.
Hasn't he?
Okay.
But the fact that he's training and stuff, he has to come in. I have to find room for that.
You will.
Yep. Jack McRae then, priced at 116. He can go better than that as well. That's
He
the
can.
thing.
And good on people for doing that.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
So one of the big reasons why people might like him, and it might mean that you can't have your Tom Mitchell and Steele, is that he's got a lot of early games, which means that he could be a great VC option.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got it here. So in round one, he plays Wednesday.
The first game.
The very, very first one. So he goes Wednesday, Thursday in the first three games.
That's big.
Okay,
That's
then
a big double.
Then it's a Saturday, Friday, and then it's a Saturday, and then a couple more Fridays at rounding it out.
Such a good name to get that double shot at, and it's an easy one to get out because round 1, 2, and 3, we're not going to have many zeros.
No.
So in our team, are we?
No.
Only probably
maybe you ruck if
you ruck through with Sam Hayes maybe if he's not playing.
So the thing is, an example could be if you started with him, made him your VC, if he had a smashing score, that means maybe you could do away with one of the big dog midfielders.
See,
true.
You could do. Selby did that one year, I remember. That's when the year that he didn't start with Tom Mitchell because he got a good captain score early.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway.
Still won it and didn't start with a bloke that was going at
140.
Yeah,
it burnt him in the end, didn't it? Then it didn't matter. He was still too good.
Yes, he was.
Playing on, now we're getting into a couple of rookies. Josh Ward from Hawthorn. Training reports and everything's coming out of there sound like he could be a very good chance to play. And that's where, Cal, it could be your Horn Francis. If Ward's looking good, you could go him instead of that because I think Ward's going to score more.
At the moment, that's exactly what I have.
Right, okay. So I can see some...
I just need to check that with the little with the pig later on.
I mean, it saves you a bit of cash.
Yeah, only a tiny bit.
Jai Caldwell's another one there, and we might chat about him a little bit later as well because he's around about the same price as Matt Rao.
Right.
See, I know which one I prefer straight away.
I've actually got Caldwell in at the moment over Rao.
Yeah.
You do too, Cal?
No. I like that though.
Do you? Yeah.
So you're the other way?
No, I don't have either. But I
Didn't
prefer...
you say I know what...
No. I know what you're doing. I prefer Caldwell over Rao.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Right. That's interesting. And then I guess we're getting into like under 10% ownership for the next lot of guides, which you can always check out under the Stats Centre and then under Coach's Choice. You can find those. But Roy, did you do your homework?
Oh, yes, I did.
All right, so the rolling 22, rather than reading out the rolling 22 or the full thing, it's going to be for this position, which is the midfield.
And you know how I'm usually really confident?
Oh, you're not?
Nah.
No swag?
Nah, zero.
That's not what people are tuning in for.
Nah, and
people love your arrogance.
Yeah, I know. I've got it there, and I'll stick by it, but it's going to cop criticism, and I will stick up for it, but not with my usual rudeness.
Okay.
There's too many. You know, I'll chuck a blanket over them.
Yeah.
It's a bloody king bed doona.
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge blanket.
It's a big blanket.
Anyway,
Right, big
let's
blanket.
go. All right? Be kind.
Okay.
You've even got a tricky one to start with, I reckon.
I do.
Right.
And I've been back and forth, but I am going with Jack Steele, number 1, for that security.
Agree. I like it.
The pure predictability of it all.
Yep.
Okay, so he's won over Tom Mitchell too. Very confident in Tom. Like there could be a decimal between these at the end of the year. Third, and not popular opinion, but it's just undeserving. Took deserves number 3.
Agree.
Okay, if you didn't watch many Suns games last year, you probably should have to see this guy.
He just works so hard.
Unbelievable
and gets all the
work
stats.
rate. Unbelievable.
All the stats.
Stat filler.
Yeah.
Work rate.
He
Tackles,
doesn't
marks,
stop.
everything.
Does not stop.
He
That's
does
another
not
thing.
stop. I think he's hard done by at number 3.
Well, there you go.
He was the highest averaging player last year.
I've seen people in their draft rankings disrespect Took something chronic.
Yeah.
Like slide. Anyway. Play on.
Slippery.
Next one, and speaking of disrespect, Jack McRae probably deserves a top 3, you could say.
Oh, that's
but
okay.
Yeah.
He sits there as a safe number
Throw
4.
that king-size blanket over those 4.
Yeah, and then get the other one out because this next blanket, bloody hell. Anyway, what did I do that for?
What have you done?
There were 4 in the bed.
Up to number 5.
Where are we at?
Okay, we're up to number 5, Sam Walsh.
Roy.
I can't even. When did I do this? Anyway,
You did that when
is
you were
that
in
the
the
most
cans.
up-to-date one? Anyway, Sam Walsh, and then it's changing
Sam
the guard.
Walsh?
Yeah.
So you should start with him.
Yeah. He's 10 points unders. There you go. You heard it here first.
Right. 119.
Changing of the guard, Callum Mills.
Yeah.
See, I don't mind that.
Right.
I don't mind that.
That's good. Next one, another guy who's getting disrespected by a lot of people, and I understand the theory behind the disrespect, but runs on the board. Jared Lyons is at number 7.
He went at 117.
Yep.
Never gets tagged.
No.
My worry on him is the Lachie Neale improvement factor.
Yep. Lachie did have a few big games where Lyons was there pumping a 121
He had a
as well.
massive back half of the season. He was skipper. He won you our Bacon Cup draft.
He did. He certainly did. And another concern you could say with him is talk of spending a bit more time forward. But
Okay.
God, would you take him out of that role that he
No.
played last year?
No,
I
you
just don't
wouldn't.
think you would. Now, rounding it out, and probably the luckiest man in Australia, but I've given it to Zach Merritt.
He's a safe option to have.
Yeah, and I just went for a bit of safety at the end because I know I'm going to cop it for the rest of them. So the apologies here, Petrucca
Okay.
could definitely be in there.
Definitely.
Oliver,
Yep.
absolute gun, has been for years. He's still only like 24.
Which way do you have those two at the moment? The changes.
It does change. I would pick the safer Oliver.
Yeah.
But Petrucca's
I'm
the
track,
more
yeah.
exciting one. Yeah. I have to apologise to Rory Laird.
Yeah.
The fact that he used to be defender is probably what's cost him here because
So was Mills.
true. His numbers were just outstanding last year. So he's an apology.
I think the problem for him, for me, is the Matt Crouch coming in and the little bit of unknown about that to really go lockety-lock. And it's a little bit like some people have gone the head-to-head. Who scores higher or who do you rank higher in your draft rankings out of Mills and Laird?
Yeah.
And it's Mills because I feel like he's just safer in the role.
What about with Heaney coming into the midfield?
It's long bombshell midfield.
I couldn't even finish the sentence.
Look, another apology. It has to be made. And bloody, I haven't checked my Twitter account since I started this, but Chad would have already messaged me.
Yeah.
Ollie Wines is not in there, and Walshy is.
Players don't score well after their Brownlow year.
There you go.
Fact.
Brownlow dip.
There you go.
But there it is, boys. You can see it's a little bit shaky. Let's call it a work in progress.
Nice. Right, Cal, before we finish up our little midfield chat here,
Yeah.
your point of differences, your pods.
A couple of players here who are in less than 5% of teams. Let's kick it off with...
Is this that you like?
Right.
Or just any random player? Just
No,
go,
I didn't go random players. These are some guys I definitely like.
I'll tell you
go.
if we like them.
Let's go with your apologies. In Ollie Wines, in 4% of teams.
nah.
Okay, he went at 118 from round 9.
Which is only, 4 points better than what he averaged for the
6.
season? 6.
Rory Laird, 3.5% of teams, and as you said with the Matt Crouch there, that's a
Yeah.
factor, went 120 after his bye. These are the guys who made the rolling but have low ownership. Jared Lyons, 2.3 Never gets tagged. He went at 124 after the bye.
Huge.
Why are we turning our back on that? Some people aren't. 2.3% are on. Zach Merritt is under 5% ownership. He went at 110, but 116 in the COVID year. Mills, less than 3% ownership.
Here's one that I'd like.
You know why? Because people are scared of the breakout. So he went from 74 to his average of 110, and they're like, you can't touch that now. Why not? Like, he went at 115 after his bye, and that included a 78. So there is still meat on the bone there.
Can you just remind when that 78, what part of the game?
Round 23, and it was in before half-time
The
from memory.
second quarter.
So that is ridiculous.
Injury is the only thing with him. He doesn't get tagged. He's a beast.
Yeah.
I reckon he's a great pod.
So do I. Love it. So Mills, 2.9% ownership. A couple of other guys here that I like as well. Taylor Adams, 3.4%.
Yeah, this is one I can get on board.
Really?
So you're backing in his body, though, a little bit.
You are, but priced
it looks good at the moment.
It does look good.
Priced at 101.
He's passing the photo test.
He is.
He's been 114, 110 before.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, that's a guy that can go 10 plus.
He's hit that magic number twice.
Yeah. Right, and then the last two I want to talk about here, and it's not even a joke.
Oh, no.
We need to talk about Andrew Gaff. 1.3% ownership.
For a reason.
But listen, he's 97.
Have you picked him again?
There's a lot of Western Australians that are playing this game, and he's still only in 1 point.
100. His averages before last year, 109, 111, 111.
Pick him then.
No, I'm not. But 1.3. The other guy, though, to finish up here, Roy, is Dangerfield.
Yes.
So he is in 3.4% of teams, obviously priced at his 87. But before that, 102, 107, 106, 120,
I feel 101 coming on there.
So do I, which gives 14 points on the bone.
That's pretty good.
Good.
Pat on the back, Cow. You've done it again.
No, that was great.
Thanks, mate.
That was really good.
All right, boys, we are going to have a chat now to someone unlike us. Someone that owns a hat.
Royalty, dog.
Royalty.
Yeah.
Royalty.
I've got the notebook out.
Same here.
Yeah.
All right, let's welcome DC. G'day, mate.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm honoured to be on.
Oh well, it's great to have you
great to
because
have you
you've
on
got
here,
yourself a hat. What number sits on your hat from last year?
71, I believe.
Living the dream, Roy.
Living the
dream.
How much have you been wearing it around?
Not a lot actually. I wear it on our podcast with a few other guys that we talk some rubbish with every week, just to annoy them. But other than that, it pretty much stays on the shelf, and I just have a nice look at it every now and then.
Just weddings and things.
All right, now your success over the years. So you had a hat last year. Have you always been a pretty good fantasy coach?
Probably started taking it more seriously in the last 4 years or so. So finished 175th the year before, and then had another top 500 finish a few years ago.
Nice.
But I've probably been playing the game more casually for about 10 years, I think.
Cool. Well, you're heading in the right direction.
That's it.
And you've already got some headwear. So aim for a top 50 at least this year, I'm sure. Now, we are talking midfielders today, and what we thought we'd do is get you on and talk to us about your midfield. Well, let's talk about it. Do you want to read out your line as it sits right now? Because I know it is early February, and it will possibly change. But what does it look like right now?
Yeah, that's definitely the caveat, isn't it? Is that don't go copying this anyone, because this will be quite different come round one, I think. But at the moment, I've got two big boys up the top. So I've got Jack Steele, obviously had a huge year last year and flew home to that 133 average in the back half of the year. And then I've got the pig himself, Tom Mitchell at M2. Kind of similar, had a really big second half of the year, and I think was back to his best.
So with that Jack Steele there at the start, you're quite happy to pay over $1 million for him?
Yeah, it definitely makes me a little bit uncomfortable playing that much for anyone. But I think of all the guys this year that you're going to pay up for, he seems the safest one to me.
Yep.
And for me, his round 12 bye is really important as well. So I don't know if everyone else's teams are the same, but a lot of my midfield's really heavy on round 14. So having him in there as that uber primo with the round 12 just adds a little bit of balance.
Just out of interest in that one as well, how would you rank those two? So in draft, for example, who would you go first?
Oh, it's a tough question. I think I'd probably still have Steele just ahead.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's a little bit safer, whereas Mitchell's got the new coach coming in and we just don't know exactly what's going to happen there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I actually think they're only going to be a couple of points apart this year.
Yeah.
All right, do you have a big dog at M3?
Not so much. So this is probably a little bit more of a spicy pick. So I've got Jack Simpkin there at the moment.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like it.
At M3. So he's priced at around 800K. But I actually see him kind of being the Sam Walsh of this year,
Right.
in that he's a young mid who could potentially break into that uber premium territory after a really strong finish to the previous year. So Walsh in 2020, after his bye, averaged about 110 and then went on to average 109 last year, obviously, and was amazing.
Yep.
Whereas Simpkin last year is priced at 95, but averaged 105 after his bye. But he actually also had a really heavily tagged 49 in those games.
You can take that out.
So, yeah, exactly, Cal. So if we can take that out, which sounds as though you'll allow it, he actually averaged 100. He actually averaged 110. So I actually think he could go close to that. And another interesting stat on him is that there was only 7 players to attend over 80% of centre bounces last year, and he's one of them.
Unbelievable.
And the other six are Jack Steele, Zach Merritt, Clayton Oliver, Rory Laird, Lachie Neale, who obviously had a bit of a down year, but we know he's done it in the past, and then Paddy Cripps is probably the other outlier there as well.
Okay. It's
But
interesting.
it does mean points, though, centre bounces.
Big time, dog. You know that.
Yeah, centre bounces are interesting because I think it's really hard to be a top scorer without having a lot of centre bounces. There is the caveat that you can have high centre bounces without necessarily being a top scorer, but it's unusual to have it the other way around. So, yeah, I see him breaking into that with premium territory this year.
So those... Oh, sorry.
No, I was
sorry,
going to say, he's only owned by 2.3% of coaches.
Unique.
Simpkin. Well, this is going to skyrocket after this chat.
Well, it certainly will. So you were very bullish on Steele and Mitchell, and I love the stats that you've backed up Simpkin because I think he is a great player. What sort of likelihood is it that he stays in your team, do you think? Are you 100% sold and as bullish as you are on Steele and Mitchell, or is he a guy that could quite easily be moved along?
Yeah, so he could move out. So at the moment, I haven't got Lachie Neale in my side, which is probably a little bit unusual. So he seems to be really popular. They've got the same buy and they're around about the same price. So at the moment, I just can't fit both of them in.
Yeah.
But if Neale comes out in the preseason games and looks as though he's going to tear the season apart, then I think it'll be pretty tough to leave him out. But I am really bullish on Simpkin.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, where do we go after Simpkin? So Steele, Mitchell, Simpkin.
Yep. And then I've got Matt Crouch in there at the moment, which is probably the one that's most likely to change. But
he's got to be there for now, though, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah. So he's priced at 650K, which is just ridiculously cheap for someone as good
What
as
he
him.
can do, yeah.
Yeah, so the price is him around 77, but he's obviously averaged 105 plus in his last 4 seasons that he's played, obviously without last season. So I think if he plays those preseason games, he probably should be a lock in just about every game.
I think that's all we need to see from him, isn't it?
That's
like
all we
not
need.
even dominating those games.
Yep.
If he gets through them, it's pretty rude and disrespectful of us not to pick him.
Price at
that
77.
price.
He has to be there.
Where have you gone at M5?
Yeah, so it's probably another one of my more unique picks, this one. And at the moment, I've got Patrick Lipinski there.
Yeah, right.
See, I like this
A lot
one.
of people have Matt Rao there.
They
but
do.
Lipinski.
I do, yeah. So Lipinski's 606K, and if we just look at the Pies midfield, it seems a bit up in the air to me at the start of this season. So you've obviously got Adams in there, who I think is going to be the mainstay.
Yep.
But then we had Pendles and Sidey, who are obviously getting on a little bit. I think are probably going to play in other positions a fair bit this year. You've then got De Goat and Cripps, who we know can play other positions pretty well, but I'm expecting we'll still have some mid-time. But then it's really the kids. So they basically got Nick Dacos, Finn McRae and Tyler Brown, but I don't think any of them are ready to be full-time mids. So Lipinski at 23 years of age, to me seems like the age bracket they're kind of lacking in that midfield at the moment. And I'm actually expecting to step pretty much straight into the middle and be one of their top 2 or 3 mids.
So you've talked about these CBAs being important.
Yep.
Do you see him behind Taylor Adams as the next best?
Yeah, possibly. It might depend a little bit on what De Goey does, whether they're going to try and split his role. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's in their top 3 or 4 inside mids. And when he played that role last year in the VFL, only played 4 games, but he actually averaged 114 playing that inside-outside time. So we we know he can score really well when he's in that inside role, even though it's obviously at a lower level.
Definitely upside, isn't there?
There is.
There's a lot of upside there.
Cool.
A lot more CBAs coming his way.
He's got a really impressive statistic about actually just attending one centre bounce per game is enough to get his average up to
into the 90s.
Yeah, 85 plus. It's amazing. Mm.
All right, where do we go there for your last three positions on field?
Yeah, so I've got the 3 rookies in now. So I have played around a lot with just having 2 mid-rookies on field. It sort of switches from day to day almost at the moment. But the 3 rookies I've got on field at the moment are Jason Horne-Francis, Nick Dacos, and then Greg Clark, who's quickly becoming one of my boys, even though he hasn't played an AFL game yet because I'm an Eagles man. So, looking forward to seeing how he goes, obviously, if he gets the game. But I'm pretty bullish on those, on Horne-Francis and Dacos getting a lot of games and should score fairly well for rookies.
That's what it's about, isn't it? Getting games. It's job security is what you're looking at for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want them to come in for only 1 or 2 games and then go straight back out again. So I think those guys will play pretty much every game they're available for this year.
Now, boys, you won't believe this, but that lineup is exactly the same as mine.
I've seen you clicking around over there.
That is the exact same as mine. Now, I've got one question, though. Why not Matt Rowell? What's your thoughts there? Because he's in a lot of teams at the moment, but not in yours.
Yeah, so he's on my watch list. So I'll read out a couple of the other guys I've got on my watch list quickly.
Right.
So at the higher price...
Give me a pen, dog. Give me a pen. Sorry, mate. Okay.
You're right. At the higher price, I've got Callum Mills and Sam Walsh. The other 2 I'm looking at, probably M1 and M2. And then at sort of that M3 position, Lachie Neale definitely around about that mark for me, as well as Josh Kelly and Taylor Adams. Yeah. And then the mid-price guys, I've got Rowell in there, but then also guys like Elliot Yeo, Caleb Sarong, Noel Anderson, I'm pretty keen on as well.
Yep.
And then Jai Caldwell's the other one that's kind of similar price to Rowell. So Rowell, for me, the reason why I'm hesitant on it is I actually picked him up straight off his injury last year around the buys, and he got stuck in my side for quite a few rounds and kind of really slowed my momentum at that point. So I think when I brought him in, I was sitting 9th or something overall. So started slipping backwards as he came into the side. So
it's a good reason not to pick a guy, actually.
It is.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
But just watching him last year, like his lack of spread from stoppage was really noticeable. He basically was relying on tackles and handballs to score. So I'd like to see him in the preseason actually get a few marks around the ground. And I think if we see that, then he will definitely go a lot better this year. But I'm not sure there's going to be enough upside there if he's just playing purely as that inside ball.
Yep.
There you go.
That's
there
very
you
fair.
go, boys.
Very
Look at
fair.
that.
Some very good names there. Well, DC, thank you for that. And we're very interested to see how this shapes up. Our midfields they'll probably look a little bit different across the competition, I reckon, because you've got some value guys, and if you want to pay up for those big dogs, it's going to make the rest of your side look a little bit different. So thanks for sharing your squad with us, and we'll be able to follow you on Twitter. What's your account?
Yep, so my account and team name is DC Caterpillars.
Beautiful. And we can hear a podcast from you guys. Tell us about that.
Yep. So it's myself and a few other guys who are on as regulars, and then we have basically a rotating cast of guests coming through. So we had Carl Holmes on last week, who's a 2-time top 10 finisher. So you can go and listen to that one now. So they're coming out weekly, and the podcast is called AFL Fantasy Hat Chat. And you can find that on Twitter at Hat Chat AFL.
Beautiful. Well, that's what we all want to do. We all want to win a hat. So sometimes it's even better than the major prize. So just having one of those hats would be very nice. And you've got one of those, DC. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Now, boys, it wouldn't be a draft. Oh, so fuck that up. There's a beginning with already. Jesus Christ.
Right, take a breath. Let's go.
Now, boys, it wouldn't be a midfielders podcast without actually speaking to one of the best midfielders in the competition, an absolute ball magnet, a bloke that racks up plenty of fantasy points for us, Mr. Tom Mitchell. Welcome to the podcast.
G'day, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, mate, we are very excited to have you on at the moment because, well, the three of us have all got you in our sides and we are ready to roll for season 2022 with you there and possibly getting the captaincy. How are you tracking this pre-season?
Yeah, tracking well, thanks. And that's good to know. It's a privilege to be on all 3 teams. Thank you very much for picking me. Well, pre-season's been pretty tough, as always. But, yeah, I've done a really good block of training. I haven't actually missed a training session yet, so that sort of continuity is normally a pretty good sign. If you can get a good pre-season in, so I'm feeling really good.
That's awesome to hear you haven't missed a session, because obviously after the severity of your leg injury, it would have been small steps coming back in regard to probably holding yourself back from what you were used to. Obviously, because you are so piggish, you were still able to pump out unbelievable scores. But does it feel like you are still on the improve post-injury?
Oh, I think I've made a full recovery, which I think's... probably. Well, I haven't missed a game since, which is actually a pretty good sign. So I think 2020, I didn't miss a game. I've probably felt a little bit underdone. My leg didn't quite feel itself then. But last year, I feel as though the second half of last year, I took some real confidence out of the leg feeling 100%. And right now is the fittest I've been since prior to the injury. So it's a pretty good feeling.
That's what I was actually going to look. Obviously, as one of your coaches, I keep a very close eye on you, and I did notice the second half of last year you really look like old Tom again. So that's awesome. Now, another question I've got, and this is just a burning question with all fantasy coaches at the moment. You've got a new coach now, Sam Mitchell. What's going to change with him at the helm?
Good question. There's been a fair bit of change that's happened within the four walls, which I guess is only natural when you have a change in the coach. I'm trying to think what the main things would be. I think...
is he going to let you be a pig?
That's all we need to know.
Is he going to let you still be a pig?
I'm not sure. I think I'll still be playing obviously through the middle and a bit of forward as well. We want to rotate forward as midfielders as well, so it could spend up a bit of time up there. And what do you get for a goal these days? How many points?
Yeah, 6 points for your goal with that.
6?
As long as you get a couple in there, that's good.
Might have to snag a few 6-pointers. So, it'll be mid and forward, same as usual.
Now, Mr. Pig, I hope I can call you that. I'm going to talk about one of your players now who is coming back from an injury, and that is Sick Dog. Now, James Sicily, for those playing along at home. How's he travelling?
Yeah, he's flying, sis. I think he probably could have... It would have been pushing it, but he probably could have played late in the season last year because that's when the 12-month mark would have been from his ACL. But, the way he's training and covering the ground, and he just reads the ball so well behind the play and, takes a lot of intercept marks and things like that. So I think, he's probably, I assume, cheaper than usual because he's been injured. Is that how it works?
That's right.
Yeah, 30% discount for him.
Yeah, I think everyone should definitely pick him. He's in for a big year.
So we love his intercept marking is outstanding, but when he was at his best, he was heavily involved in a lot of switching. Do you reckon he's the man for that again?
As in switching position?
Switching play, sorry.
Switching play.
Yeah.
I think so. I think
he was a bit of a link man.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think, the way you need to move the ball these days, you need to get the ball to the open side of the ground. So, I think every team, uses the switch play in the back half of the ground, and Sis is normally the one letting it go for a longer switch with his big leg, or he's on the other end of it taking a mark and letting the ball out the other side. So, I think he'll still link up in that way.
The other thing we want from him too is to make sure when he's taking those kick-ins that he runs out of that square and gets those +3s for us.
Yeah, well, they're handy, aren't they? I might have to sneak down and take a few kick outs.
There you go. Because if you here at Pig Park down at UTAS Stadium, if you don't, Warnie will yell at you. He stands behind and just screams at his players. Gets them the extra points though, don't you, Dog?
Now, Tommy, I am looking at the Hawthorn midfielders, players that have got some upside. And James Worpel, he probably did a few different things last year. He had a few jobs, and his average dropped down a fair bit from what he did the seasons previous. So how's he looking, and do you think that he is a good pick as a bit of a sleeper in our draft leagues or someone that should improve?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Worpel's had a really strong pre-season, and his best foot is really good, and he's a quality player. So I think, he's definitely someone that you could look at put in your team. Another one's Jai Newcomb, who hasn't played a lot of games. Yeah, I think he had 13 on debut, so hasn't played a lot of games yet. But I think he could find himself as a regular.
Nice. He actually played, I'm looking at him here, 6 games last year at an average of 58. Now, what about the kids that are coming along? So a guy like Josh Ward, he's priced as a midfielder, 278,000. He's in a lot of teams at the moment. Do you think that he'll be getting a game early?
I think so, yeah. He's pretty talented, Wardy, and he's got the work ethic to match it. So, yeah, I think he's definitely, he'll definitely play at some point this year, and I think it probably will be early in the season if his training stands are anything to go by. He's an elite runner. so covers the ground really well, knows how to find space for uncontested marks and things like that, and he's a good link-up player with his left foot as well. So
beautiful. We love that.
Yeah.
Now, any other kids that might be popping their head in at the early stages?
Yeah, there is. I think Finn McGuinness could have a breakout season.
Okay.
So we're really looking after the mids here, but there's plenty of good ones coming through, which is good to see. It's been good to work with them all. So, yeah, I think the ones you mentioned, Jai, Finn, Wardy, these type of guys could really stamp their names this year.
As long as you're still in the guts there,
That's
feeding the ball to them, that'll be a good
Don't
thing
let
for
the
us.
kids push you out, mate. You just let them know that you're the pig.
Okay.
Now, you launched your awesome app, Ballmagnets, and this year we can get a hold of that for free now. Tell us about what we can do to get on and become AFL players, because I think if COVID strikes, us 40-year-old blokes could be a chance to get on a list
we would.
if we are fit enough.
That's right.
Yeah, so it is free. It's on the App Store. So basically, what we're doing at the moment, we've just created a 14-day pre-season challenge where you can train with the players. So myself, Paddy Cripps, Lachie, Neale, Aaron Phillips, Jack Viney. We've got a 7-day kick challenge coming up with Zach Merritt. We've got some more pre-season challenges coming up, and then we've got a few surprises coming for the footy season kicks off. So some pretty exciting stuff happening, and I encourage everyone to get on board the app. It's going to be a big year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll be training along out here at Pig Park before we record our podcast. But a couple of the blokes that are involved with Ballmagnets, Lachie Neale's one of them, and he is super popular at the moment. All we're hearing about him is that he's flying. I'm sure he's just following along with the app, making sure that he's going to be set for the big year. 35% of teams, I think, is that a smart pick at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I haven't seen him train, but the conversations we had over the phone, we did a Instagram live takeover last week on the Ballmagnets account, and Lachie and Paddy both gave us an update as to where they're at, and I think Lockie's really happy with where he's at. He's been able to get a big training block in as well, and I think he was carrying a few niggles last year, but this year, seems to be having a really good run at it, which is really good for him.
What about Paddy Cripps? Because he'd be touch and go whether he'll get the arse from your app at the moment.
Cripper?
Yeah. No, that's harsh. I'm a massive Carlton fan. But
Can't do
how's Cripper travelling?
I think it cut out for a second, so by the sounds of what you're saying, it's probably a good thing I didn't hear what you said.
I was just mucking around. But, yeah, how is Paddy going?
No, he's going well, Paddy. The last time I caught up with him, he's the leanest I've ever seen him. He was an absolute monster, as we know, but his physique was pretty scary.
Yeah.
So if that's any indicator, I think he's a pretty motivated guy, and, he set the bar so high over the years with his quality of footy, and probably wasn't at his absolute best last year. I think that's what he would say. So I think look out for him this year. He's going to be ready to go.
Yeah, no, a good rig is one of my key criteria. So he's certainly in the mix.
I don't know why you've got me in your team, then.
Well, 28% of the competition have you at the moment, $969,000, and well, you're locked in. Is there anything else you can do to sell us, or is it just an easy pick for us to all have you in our side?
Well, I hope I don't let you guys down. You've put me under the pump now. A bit of pressure if I'm going early in the draft, but I'll always do my best. I'll see what I can do for you guys.
And just remember, mate, pigs don't need good rigs.
No,
so you're
an exception.
Yeah, you're okay.
Well, it's probably not a really...
Bit of mud and we're happy.
That's it, mate.
Exactly. You, Swanee, Tom Rockcliffe. Yeah. I don't think skin folds were always the biggest thing for those other two blokes.
That's right. Pigs will pig.
Not at all.
Beauty.
Not at all.
Thanks, Tom. And make sure you check out Ballmagnets app and get yourself nice and fit for this season, and you might be able to pick us up for 190k rookies if we get ourselves in nice nick. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Got a question for the traders? Tweet the boys at AFL Fantasy or head to facebook.com/AFL Fantasy Official.
All right, gentlemen, it's time to look at some questions. And there's a heap that have come through, so let's get into it. Okay, here's one. I think we kind of discussed it before. For Simon, Caldwell or Rao?
Yeah, I'm Caldwell.
I'm Caldwell. Yep.
The real Oogie Boogie Whoosh threw in Hanbury. No.
Throw him back out, mate.
Bloody Hannah's.
Yeah. No, it's a solid
pops
nine.
up, doesn't it?
So Caldwell over Rao. That's amazing, really.
Is it though?
Seems a bit ridiculous, but...
Caldwell was good. He started the year so well.
Had 100.
God, he's never burst onto the scene like Rao did.
Geez, we rely on that a lot, don't we?
Yeah, but who does that?
I know.
It's not like it was out of nowhere. he had the runs as a kid.
We need to see something from Rao a lot in the
Big time.
preseason.
I'm Caldwell.
Yep.
All right, Fry wants to know. I want to know which mid you lads think is next in line for a snout. He says McRae looks the prime pick.
Oh, yeah.
But still, Petrarca, Bont, Merritt could throw their hat in the ring with a ripper 2020 season.
Look, McRae, the more I think about it, he has been unlucky not to be talked
Agreed.
about a bit more. It was those, Bevo wrecked him, actually. Those sulky weeks on the wing that derailed one of our seasons.
Yeah.
That left a really sour taste.
Because he had those patches where he had poor scores.
Yeah.
But then he still makes his average up to be a good average.
Yes, because that's
big weeks.
Yeah,
So,
so he's definitely one that he has to be on the radar. Consistently so good puts him there.
I think if he can get to a 120 this year,
It
that
needs to be
it would nearly
seriously considered.
It would 100%.
Because he hasn't. There's not much apart from those little asterisks, sulky wing moments. There's not much he's done wrong in recent times. Someone like Jack Steele, he's put his hand up to say, "I want to have a crack at us now."
I want to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
And
so he'll
do-
be watched closely.
Agree. And there's a few like that, but they need to be able to back it up.
Yeah.
Right, rookie questions here. Aiden and Anthony have both sort of asked questions here. Who's basically fieldable? So, lists. Jason Horne-Francis.
Yeah.
Yep. Dacos.
Yep.
And he's probably the number one out of all of them
Yes.
that we would talk about. Then you've got Ward.
Yep.
Who, if he's in, yes.
Yep.
Hobbs for the Bombers. Everything's sounding really positive
Yeah, it
about
is,
him.
isn't it?
And he's a magnet. Like, he can get the ball. So, it's a watch, obviously. Clark.
Yes.
If he's playing the mature
Surely.
age.
Yeah.
Anthony, a couple of other names here, is also thrown in there. Matty Roberts from Sydney, so one to watch. Squeeze is going to be tough for him to get in.
It is. I did write about him earlier in the preseason, so
It's good the fact that
statistically ticks a lot of boxes. They do actually. They have shown last year that they're willing to play kids now.
Yeah.
So he is actually one to just keep an eye on.
well, if they're pushing Heaney and Mills into the guts, that means your players like JPK and Parker and that is basically slowly getting moved out.
Yeah.
There's got to be a couple of spots starting to free up.
It does.
Mead, Cow,
Mead,
Yep.
what about him?
he's on your bench.
Look, Mead, if he gets named,
He's there.
I'm launching into
Have
that.
to do it.
But no, he's definitely not fieldable.
All right,
Isn't
yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
All right, Ninja Spoon wants to know, Sarong and Yeo, could you put them together on your field? So two guys priced at about 80-ish.
God, they're both unders.
Yes, they're both unders. And you can put Sarong there with confidence. The only problem is with Yeo is his body. But apparently he's going well.
So a few people sort of ask questions then about our structure and stuff. So if you're going two blokes like Yeo and Sarong,
Yeah.
can you only have two guys in that sort of mid-price breakout sort of range?
Pre-season, I've got a heap of them. I always have a heap of them in there. But they slowly get cut back. I don't know. How many of them guys can you have? Sarong, we don't worry about it. We just pick him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just fine. No risks.
Yep.
The Yeos and the Caldwells and the Rows. And
Goes flying. Schmookie's pretty keen on him.
Is he?
Schmookie knows.
He does know.
He ended the year okay too. They're just names to monitor. And I'm with
he's
you,
done
Roy.
over
You
100.
can't have them all.
You can't.
It's pinpointing the one that is most likely going to
Gosh.
dominate.
Why can you not have both of them, though?
Well, that's it. Why
They're
can't
both
you?
double figures under.
Yes.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
Lauren's asked this question. Can you rank Josh Kelly, Andrew Brayshaw, Simpkin, I can't say Simpkin.
No, it's a
I
tough
need
one
to.
to say.
And Taylor Adams. Right,
Gee,
so
that's
this is
tough.
your next batch of your rolling 22 guys.
Yeah,
Roy.
It is.
Who do
knocking
you
on the
like
door.
best out of those guys to average the best? Kelly, Brayshaw, Simpkin, and Adams.
Gosh, there's some good names.
There's some
there.
great names. I've got Adams at a 110.
Yep.
I think he can be back to that.
With some body risk.
I've got less faith in him getting through the season, so he sort of gets a bit of a line through for me. I'm thinking Brayshaw
Yeah.
is probably my number one there. Just.
And then where does Simpkin sit in that mix? Because he
Does he
seems
bump
like he
Kelly?
could- possibly. Kelly's got that body
Just through
risk.
durability,
Yeah.
I think he can bump him.
So I think it's going Brayshaw, Simpkin, Kelly, Adams for me.
Simpkin can be a 105 plus.
Yeah.
Which gives him about 10 points up.
Gosh. That's a really tough one.
Andrew follows up that question on Twitter there. I've got three of them. Am I crazy?
No.
Can you go 3 guys like that in your side?
Yes, you can.
I think it could win you a car.
It definitely
I
can.
never do stuff like that.
And a guy like
But I'm
Stuff
never
like that
any
can be
good.
risky, though, because the
Big
point
time.
of different stuff is, say, I'm always conservative,
Yes.
team vanilla type thing.
Yeah.
But that's me and I can plot away and go, all right.
Yeah.
But if you go
Those
with
could
yes,
smash you up the rankings, or they could have you playing a fair bit of catch-up if they don't work.
if Yeo can get through the first 5 or 6 games, his price is going to be up there where you can just swap him with someone that you like.
Thing is, too, you can't walk away from the game. If that blows up in your face,
Yeah.
you can quite easily
You're here for 20-odd weeks, dog.
Homer meme straight away. Yeah, you can't do that.
No, you're stuck.
Yep, and you blokes wouldn't know how to hit record on a podcast.
That
either.
is true.
So we definitely know
We're
how to...
all stuck.
Jack wants to know
on,
thoughts on Adam Cerra, new club. Will be a top 3 mid at the Blues, won't
Yep.
receive any attention.
Yep.
Price at 87, but went 104 in his last 5. Prime
Yep.
age in his 4th year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And no one's talking about
Yep,
him.
and he is,
Even Roy, the
Yep.
Carlton man.
Yep, he's 100% correct. Got a ceiling too. Pumped
Yeah.
out a couple of 130s late last year. Deserves more talk than he's getting. I've been more keeping an eye if he's still there in draft and thinking, oh, that's a bargain.
Yep.
But he definitely has meat on the bone in Classic.
He does, a little bit of meat. 2% have picked him up at the moment.
Priced at an average of 87.
87. What is he, a 95 at best?
No, he could hit 100.
Do you reckon? There's a lot of Blues midfielders averaging 100 at the moment, Roy.
2.
Oh, lovely.
God, you're rude.
Guys, got a couple of other names here to throw in the mix, like with your Caldwell and Rao at an M6.
Yep.
So then only having rookies at 7 and 8. Dylan Stevens and Charlie Constable. So Dylan Stevens has been talked up a fair bit for the Swans
Yes.
as a breakout type player.
Have heard that.
And then Charlie Constable could be an option because we know what his ball winning ability was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coming in, Jack Bowes out, Hugh Greenwood out.
Yep. So I don't love picking people like this, but that's what Nick Hind was last year, wasn't he? That sort of...
I guess the role was the thing for him, though,
Yeah.
like as a half-back. Like he was a forward pocket, had a poor average because of that. He didn't have... Like he was able to go into that role. Like that
Yes.
midfield still got a lot of names in there.
Yes.
I think they're names that you don't cross off at this stage of the year.
I'm crossing off Constable.
Are you happy to cross him off?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
But I can see why you'd let him train. And
Yeah, he's got he'll carry the drinks, and
So you'd take Caldwell before him.
I think so, yes.
Hell yeah.
Of course you would.
And Rao. So his
Yes,
teammate, Rao.
probably. Yeah.
Of course you would.
Craig wants to know, Pendles or Yeo? I think it's Yeo.
It is Yeo.
It is Yeo.
Because Pendles, this half-back role could be good for scoring as well.
It could.
But as
Last
well the
year,
DPP.
we
But I
thought
think
stuff like that was going to be good for Pendles, and he did
Yeah.
float back there, and his scoring sucked for the first time in his career. So I don't think it's one to get too excited for us about, apart from a draft sleeper with Pendles. So you go and Yeo there.
Tick this one off for Abby. Save money by going McRae instead of Steele or Miller. So could you have McRae as your M1?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
of
a
course
good
you can.
player, very
Yeah.
good player.
Yep.
You definitely
I think we've answered this, but for Dennis, struggling with this one, Mills versus Laird.
Mills.
Are their prices very similar?
They would be, yes.
They would be very close.
Yep, it's definitely Mills.
Okay.
Mills for me.
All right. So we've probably got through most of those.
Yeah, just before we go though, Dog.
Yep.
Let's talk, as far as Yeo goes, right? He came back last year. He actually played the last 13 or so games. He did not miss a game, right? Obviously, it took him a while to get going. I can see a 61 in there, a 69. But in these last 3 games, he averaged 99.
Yeah.
Which is where you probably see him being.
Yeah. He had 30 touches in the last one too, I
Yeah,
think.
and he tackled. So if he can be that 95 to 100,
Look, if Yeo's getting 30 touches, averaging 99 over 3 to end the season,
yeah.
that's just doing the research for you.
He missed the first 10 games, played every game from that point onwards. Did not miss, and scored well at the end. He needs to train, at least.
Yeah, no, he deserves serious consideration.
Finn asks us, Zach Jones, is he an option?
Well, he is. There's some really impressive stats about him.
Yes, there is.
If you think he's going to get CBAs.
Yeah.
Like we know centre bounce attendances usually eventuate in higher scores and bigger average and stuff like that. But his numbers were ridiculous. If he is in the middle, he's a 105 plus guy.
Yeah.
If he's not hitting those CBAs, it's just going to be a nothing pick.
Price at 743,000 at an average of 88.6.
Unless they say this year
It needs to be 100.
it's Steele and it's Zach and those two are our midfield.
Then he
guns.
could be his 100.
But otherwise we go no.
No, I'll let him
Too
train.
risky.
I'll let him
Oh,
train.
you letting him train?
He
Okay.
might as well.
Yep.
Might as well.
God, you got a big ground.
I do.
Last question here then. Split Sarong and Patrick Cripps.
It's
Sarong.
Sarong all day.
But B Pace 15 does say with this, is Sarong a larger chance of getting COVID early in the year?
That's an interesting point.
This is a theory,
Yeah.
is that these Western Australian teams,
They haven't had it.
yeah, and so like the Wildcats copped it in
Yeah.
the NBL.
Yeah.
So is that a thing to worry about?
Dog, it's definitely a thing, mate. It's a big issue.
COVID, it's not real though, Cow. I read a website once.
Is that what you know?
That's enough for questions.
I think so.
You can hit us up on... Oh, did we give an answer? Yes. You still pick Sarong over Cripps.
Yeah.
Sarong went 117 in his last three. That's all
only
you need
three.
to know.
Cripps went 117 if you add up all his scores.
Just before we go, thank you to Hambones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
9, 10, I'm assuming.
Just 9.
Oh, cow. So close.
Left us a review on Apple Podcasts, so thank you for that. It says, Warning's Wordle skills are made evident with his eloquent hosting and guidance of the show, while his mates Calvin and Roy provide the hijinks and humour.
I'm going to go.
Pretty funny.
No, you're
No,
not.
you're not.
I'm going to go and say something. This is controversial.
Yeah.
If you do Wordle, right?
Yeah.
And you post it publicly, like going, look what I've achieved today.
Do it every morning.
You're a loser. You're a dead set loser.
Wordle's fun, Cow. Just because you can't do it.
Just keep it to
Just
yourself.
because you can't do it.
No one looks at it and goes, oh, geez, Warnie's having a good day. Loser. Don't do it anymore.
Wordle's fun.
Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, wow.
I think the New York Times bought it.
Yeah, it's cool.
I do it, right? And it's easy to do, but I don't publicly go, oh, geez, I've had a good day. Look at that.
No,
What's your
because you
best? Have you
failed.
done a two-liner?
Nah, I don't think I've done it too long. Maybe a 3.
Would you post it?
See, I'm not a loser. Right, close it down.
It's not very nice.
Oh, dear.
I don't
G'day
care.
to all my Wordle friends out there.
Yeah,
God.
I'm not one of them.
Wow.
I can tell.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're hitting us up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and also checking all of our content at afl.com.au and via the AFL Live app.
And all she could remember was the first, was like that.
Can I have a look at this?
Yeah. So she thought she was writing skill at the start.
This is why he doesn't like it, because he hasn't nailed it every day.
I don't do it every day. I only do it when...
94%. You suck. Get 100%, you peanut.